Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime kitty co-hosts Ms. Purrington and Mookie. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our advice column, Rochelle Takes on Comedy, our festivals page listing upcoming festivals across the country and the world, and more. We're best known for our events page for live comedy shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW, where 100% of the entries you see come from comics and producers. If you want your show featured on the calendar, click the Submit a Show button from the top of the homepage or events page to complete the short survey. It's free and easy. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we'll share your show promo to our Instagram followers. Want to support these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Click the Support CW icon on our homepage to see the ways you can help us. Now back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, we are talking to the host of the Juicy podcast, but it's not spelled the way you think it is. We'll learn about that in a bit. She's the host and producer of the Yuck It Up comedy show, which is hosted at Wanderlust on the last Fridays and the Suns Bar on the first Fridays. She was just announced that she is recording her OFTV special, LMAOF, this coming week, and hopefully we will get to see that special in early 2024. We'll also be hearing about that. And now I'm excited to bring to you Comedy Wham Presents our guest, Lauren Jamison.
Wow.
Hi.
Yahtzee. Thank you so much, Valerie.
Oh my gosh.
So
the
profesh.
energy you bring is like, oh my God, I'm awake now.
Oh, good. Yeah, I only had 2 shots of coffee. I'm house sitting right now for this friend of mine who's back in California, and she has a 14-year-old chow that I'm taking care of, and he's just the sweetest little lion, and he won't get up until I get up, and even when I get up, I have to get him up. It's like, come on, dude, we need to get moving. We got to start the day. But yeah, she has a very fancy Breville, if I'm saying it right, coffee maker. So I have not had to hit up any coffee shops because I just have a crappy Keurig at home, which is so low level these days. Remember when it was the best?
The best, yeah.
It was top of the line, but now you have to get the full-on coffee shop thing where you do the grinds and flip the thing in and steam the milk. Yeah, this machine's pretty dialed, though. It's simple to use.
Really?
And it's like, okay, how am I going to go back to this Keurig when I go back to my studio apartment on Sunday? Because I really love staying at this house. And she's like, well, you know, there's 3 extra bedrooms. I'm like, we'll get there one day where we have 3 extra bedrooms and I get lost in my own residence. Yeah,
wow.
I know. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, Lauren,
this is awesome.
It's like long overdue because you started submitting your shows, so therefore you started Yuck It Up like a couple of years ago?
It's now been a year and a half. Yeah. July 2022 is when it started. And it all sort of evolved through doing an improv style event at Wanderlust downtown. If you've ever been there, they have a back private room that's separate from the main building where they house the Wall of Wine, the famous Wall of Wine. And it was called the Alice. And it was basically an immersive, interactive experience for people to come based on Alice in Wonderland to have like a boozy tea party. So there were kids shows during the day where they didn't serve any alcohol. And then I didn't work any of those because that makes no sense. I was the Queen of Hearts, and I would start out as the hare, and then I would go do a secret outfit change, and everyone was playing double roles, and it was pretty much all improv. So it was just freestyle riffing. I was roasting the audience to get them drunk and hazing them. And I really was in my element. I was a formidable Queen of Hearts. Like, I think she's my alter ego. I just thought, Helena Bonham Carter, I'm coming for you. Put me in a Tim Burton movie. And I met so many great friends through that. And so the owner of Wanderlust, his name's Sammy Lamb. He's so wonderful. He's like the wine cowboy is what he's called. And they have now 3 Wanderlusts in Austin, just run by an incredible family, so supportive. If more comedy club owners could take a note from Sammy's book on how he runs his business and is just so supportive with all the events that are housed at Wanderlust. He just said, hey, I heard you're a comic. Do you want to run comedy shows here? And I said, yes, I'd love to. And he said, well, why don't you start over at our East Side location on Shady Lane? We have a room there. And then, should it evolve, if the Alice ends up departing, you can use this space. And it was just very open and fluid and like, let's just try things and see what works. And he's just always checking in, and anything I, raise to him, I say, can we try this? Can we try it? He's just down. Like most recently, I said, I think it would be great if we got a little stage in here, just a little platform in the room. Not, we need to be a little bit elevated from the audience than on ground level. And so he helped me shop around, and all of a sudden we're driving out to Buda to pick up this Craigslist free stage that used to be like a stripper stage.
Oh my gosh.
So there's actually a hole in it where the pole used to go, and I'm like, can we just stick the mic stand in there so it doesn't move all around?
Oh, yeah.
But I always warn, like, don't trip in the stripper pole hole. Feel free to use it in your set. But he just like, we're driving out there, picking up this heavy stage, and I really, really just love working with him and his family. And we're taking a little break right now for the holiday months. Okay. Being that last Fridays is like it's right after Thanksgiving, and then it's also going to fall on like New Year's Eve weekend. Yeah. So I'd like to think that my show is so good that people would come after their holidays to come spend it, with Yuck It Up. And then same with the first Friday's show. It's just like the owners were kind of, let's take a beat and like revamp in January. It's like, I don't even want to think about January yet. Yeah, let's just, I'm going to stay in the day because that's where I don't get as crazy. I'm trying to train myself to do that and just see, what the evolution of Yuck It Up is going to be. But pretty much slated to start back up in January for first Fridays in January and last Fridays.
So I guess the break is good then because you have time for this special. Although that is like the recording is literally on Monday, 2 days.
It's literally on Monday. Yeah. I have had a week to prepare. I was talking to
That's how long you found?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I talked to them back in February when they did the taping of the first round here with comics like Allison Voidovich, who's like a staple in the community, and Ashley Barnhill. I'm trying to remember who else was on it.
Mike was on there.
Mike, yeah. But I just hit up Allison. She said, are you serious? They only booked you like a week out? And I said, yeah. And it feels like the clock is just ticking so quickly. Yeah. So it's being produced a little bit differently this time. They're condensing it into one night instead of 2 show nights like they did the last time where they broke it up in like 4 comics each night on a Monday and a Tuesday. So now they're doing 8 comics on one night. Okay. So it's going to be a ride. I'm so excited. Yeah. I think this is a really cool new section of the platform that I know nothing about other than the obvious that they're developing, just expanding it in different ways. And like already I was just watching their Instagram stories today and there was some cooking stuff on there. There was like some gal who was, it's just beautifully shot content that was really gripping and engaging. And I get very overwhelmed when it comes to content creation because I'm like an elder millennial. I think that's what Eliza Schlesinger calls it. And I feel like it's like walking into Forever 21. I'm like, where do I start? What do I hone in on? How do I keep focused? There's so much to consume. And like we were just saying with editing even a video, a visual podcast, I went to school for broadcast journalism. I would sit in an editing room for hours using Final Cut Pro and it would be so much resistance. But then when I finally sit down and start doing it, I'm like, okay, this is fun. I'm hooked and I want to make it just so perfect. Yeah. And I think that's usually it. When I finally actually sit down and make a reel or do something, I don't give myself enough credit. I'm so hard on myself. I'm like, you're making this so much harder than it is. I know you don't love it. It's not your favorite thing, but when you actually do it, you usually make some pretty cool shit. Yeah. So needless to say, I'd rather have somebody do it for me. I just want it outsourced. Right. Yeah. So I've been trying to find somebody to help me with my social media because it's just not where I find the most joy. I want to be out there, engaging, eyes up, performing, producing, writing, not hunched over my phone, getting carpal tunnel, trying to use all the editing tools in TikTok. So we'll see. We're going to keep earning some cheddar so we can have an employee to bring to the team where I can release control in that area. Like, here's my passcode, here's my logins. Let me know if there's an emergency and I'll chime in, but you have full creative control and I trust you. you know?
Well, that's the thing, is you can go out and hire anybody, but you got to trust somebody. Not
yes.
that, I don't know, when you're talking about just that, you know, starting to get more eyes on you, which you will after this special comes out, then, you know, then you're more interested in trusting the person that you're giving the keys to your social media to.
Yes, yeah. I see some of these comedians. I was just talking to this comic who was visiting from New York, Emma Willman. She was at the Creek recently, and she just started doing a podcast on Betches, that site that's kind of like basically Barstool Sports, but it's as big, and it's in New York, and they're just legendary content creators. And I said, you know, it's just like you got to be so on it. Another comic that I admire is Ryan Long. Like, I get my news from Ryan Long because he is putting out some sort of sketch, silly little thing, man on the street, right when the headline breaks. Wow. You know, he is just like, I know immediately I'll see a headline and I'll go right to his page and he's already made like a reel. And I just, is he up all hours of the night? Does he have a team? Yeah. Does he have little elves in the workshop that are saying, okay, we know this is actually going to happen because we have a crystal ball before this headline even breaks about people stranded at Burning Man. So you need to get out there. We're going to put some hippie clothes on you and some dirt, and we're going to protect. It's just like, he's so on it, and I want to know his secrets. And I actually want to tell him the next time I see him, you should teach a class. I think it would be so valuable for comedians because we have to be content creators now. We can't just go and perform stand-up. It's like you have to also cut clips and do all of these things and make sketches and just be constantly like, it's a slot machine. Always, you know, spinning the wheel. And it would just be valuable if there was a comic out there that maybe taught some sort of a seminar on this is how you do it and break it down. So, yeah, shout out to Ryan Long. Like, maybe you could make a few bucks off of us. Don't charge too much. On how the hell we do this animal called social media to promote ourselves. I think that's like another thing is that was probably one of the hardest transitions for me as an entertainer is like promoting myself. It just feels a little weird at first. Like, oh my God, I'm like talking about myself so much. It's just me all over. And then it's just an adjustment, and I guess you get used to it. But sometimes it's just a little like, why am I having to put myself out there so much? And that was kind of challenging for me. So, it's all work in progress. Yeah. And I'm always learning, but having fun along the way.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
That's for sure.
All right, Lauren.
Yes.
I have an icebreaker question, believe it or not.
Melt me. Let's go.
All right. One word to describe your past.
Oh, my past. Mayhem.
Mayhem. Oh, my gosh.
Kaleidoscopic. Filled with all the colors blending in with each other. Yeah, I would say... capricious, maybe.
Oh gosh, you're bringing out all the power words.
I love words. I'm a cunning linguist, Valerie, and was never good at math, so only the numbers I know on my paychecks when I get them.
Yeah.
But yes, I love words, which obviously that coincides, I think, with comedy. Yeah. It's a love language. Yes, I would say my past. I mean, it got me to where I am here today, so I'm grateful for it. I try not to stare at it too long in the rear view. It's there. I've worked through a lot of it.
You grew up in Houston.
Yes, Houston. Don't get me started with that word. I can do way too much with it, and then I don't stop, and then I can't get out of it. Yes, I'm from Houston.
And you strike me as grade A certified extrovert.
Very much so.
Okay, all right. So I imagine that as a child and in school, you were like life of the party type. Did you perform? Were you a ham back then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, totally. Yes. I was always dressing up, always going into characters, copying movie lines, doing that with my brothers. It's almost like it was our universal language, is we would just talk to each other movie quotes. And my father would try to chime in with us with some Full Metal Jacket stuff every now and again, which we soon adopted and loved. Believe it or not, like we grew up, like I went and saw Cosby live as a kid multiple times. Yeah, in Houston. And then again, when we moved to San Diego when I was a freshman in college, because he was a family clean comedian. It's like, what other clean comedians are out there? Like, what is Ellen really hiding? You know, the clean comics have this exterior and this facade, but then it's like they're the darkest demons ever. But we loved him. Oh my God, the comedy he did about, you know, and then what was it? He would get the kids on, kind of like kids say the darndest things, and it's just like pure joy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a lot of acting, theater stuff.
Okay.
I was a part of a theater in Houston called Hits, Unicorn Theater, where I played Pinocchio. I even had the haircut to match. One day I just said I want a boy haircut in second grade, and it got me that role. And then I went up and auditioned, and I sang There's No Business Like Show Business, and I nailed it. And then I did like Annie Get Your Gun. I was Annie Oakley, Starlight Express. I mean, it went from being like a piece of seaweed in Moby Dick to like singing roles. And I just continued to do plays throughout my life, and then was involved with theater in high school a little bit. I tried to do sports, but like my parents never came to any of those outings, and I just realized, well, kind of like comedy, like I don't even really want my family to show up to my shows. I like being with strangers, you know? That's what we want, the validation of strangers, because we know we're not going to get it from our parents. That's why we do it. But yes, I love stage is home. I would love to actually get back into, like I just got a casting thing for Legally Blonde came through, and I'm like, I am auditioning for that. Yeah. So, you know, Broadway one day, if ever, has always been, you know, at the tip of the cerebellum. Like maybe we'll get there someday.
So, is your life today a balance of stand-up as well as acting?
It's becoming that.
Okay.
Again, I truly, I keep kind of calling it into my life, and it's kind of just happened again in a spurt. Like tomorrow, I'm shooting at Wanderlust, as it's going to be the location for this short film that was directed and written by Caleb Reimer. I hope I'm saying his last name right. I bumped into him at a show at Roscoe's recently, and then he just hit me up the other day, and I was literally thinking, I want to do some more acting. And he said, do you do any acting? And I said, whoa. I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket today. This is so crazy. And he said, well, I just think you'd be great for a part in this short film we're doing that's kind of based on Andy Kaufman's life.
Wow.
Where he handcuffs himself to a student. And I guess the role was written for Casey Rocket. But he's a very busy guy, as we know. We see him very busy on stage. Yeah. You can't even catch a camera shot of him still.
No, you can't. I've tried to.
Yeah, it's like a hummingbird, you know? He's just looking for the feeder, and it's the microphone, but where is he going to put it, you know? So he's so fantastic. There's so much talent in this town. And so, but there's some other comics. I was doing Ty Wynn's show last night, Poke the Bear, which was so fun. So he's in it. Mimi Meyer's in it. Aaron Cheatham's in it, and it's just so fun to work with a blend of students but also comics, and I really, really love this script. It's really well written, and when we did the table read at ACC Highland a couple weeks ago, I mean, we were just all in stitches. So we all, they started shooting today, and then my scenes are shot tomorrow. So, yeah, I've got some lines to perfect, but a lot of it I think it's just I'm going to riff and be improv. And it's going to be fun when you see it all come together, because I really do believe in it. And then I just got cast in something else that I'm going to shoot in my hometown next month. Wow. It's actually a feature film.
Wow.
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really pumped about that. And I think it's going to be a comedic role. There's another comedian attached to the project, and I'm just, I'm on the ride for it, because it's funny when you can have a thought and you just pray it's in alignment.
Yeah.
And that it actually comes to fruition in some sort of real way.
Yeah.
So I try not to get, cautiously optimistic.
Always.
Had situations fall through the cracks.
Plenty of disappointments.
Oh, gosh. Get used to it. Get used to it. Yes. Build that resilience. And I think that really helps me, prepare me for other things in life is just rejection.
Yeah.
Rejection is protection, somebody told me. That even though you're getting dissed or turned down, it's because you don't want to be there. You're being protected against something, even though you want it so bad. Don't get too attached to anything. things can crash and burn even in the last minute.
Yeah.
And there will be something else.
Right.
Something else will come along. So I just try to keep that belief and, stay positive, which is not always easy for me. Because I'm a part of the dark arts world, for sure.
Interesting. You don't come off that way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you seen my stand-up
Yeah.
lately?
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe not lately.
Well, in the last couple of years, I would say it's evolved more in Austin into the dark arts world.
Interesting.
Where I would say my material a lot of the time, I mean, I'm just testing it out, you know, toe in the water and seeing where the line is, like a lot of comics do. And I can see the evolution of myself from when I first started to now. It's like my style, I feel like. And who knows what it'll be in another 5 years.
Yeah.
You know? Rory Scovel is one of my favorite comedians, and he's been at it for over 20, and he's doing some acting now. And I think he shared with me once, like, oh my God, I mean, he's like, I finally feel like I'm in it in my own at 20 years.
Wow.
I'm like, well, I hope it doesn't take me that long, but yeah, I guess it's just always evolving, and you don't know which direction it's going to take based off your life experiences and, you know, where we are as a collective world. Like, that pandemic definitely affected us all. And I think with artists in a way where I was in California at the time. So it was like an incubation period where it's like, is this gone forever? You know, I just sacrificed everything in my life to do this, and now it's gone. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, I got to figure out how I can do it again. And that's how I ended up back in Texas, like a lot of people.
Sure, yeah.
I wanted my freedom back. So, yeah, never thought I would come back, but never say never.
What were you? You moved to California, the San Diego area?
Yes. Yeah.
And you did that your first year of college.
Actually, it was my first year in high school.
Oh, in high school. Oh, that's
Yes,
disruptive.
It was. I was a freshman. I was leaving my first love, real love in Houston. All my friends that I'd grown up with my whole life, my whole family is in Texas. I come from a big family. The Jewish side is in Florida, naturally.
Of course.
And yes, my mom is from a huge family, so everyone was in Houston for the most part. So it was a huge shift. My brothers, I have two younger than me. One was, well, in junior high, but when we moved to California, he was pissed off because 6th grade is actually elementary school in San Diego. I don't know if that's still the case, but we moved midway through the year, which was also hard. It's like, why didn't you start us at the beginning of the school year? Yeah. Now these kids have already had a semester together, and they've already come in from, you know, respective junior highs and whatever. And so moving right after the holidays and starting a new semester halfway through the school year was tough. But my youngest brother he was in 6th grade. So he'd had a little taste of junior high, but then he was thrown back in with elementary. So he was confused. And then my middle brother was in a junior high that was just 7th and 8th grade. So he had but when you're thrown into a very big high school, which I came from in Houston, but Sandy, it was like the culture shock of my life. It was kids smoking grass in the parking lot, ditching school, no dress code, like get away with murder, latchkey kid kind of thing. I was the only one with the curfew and that had any laws, which I, you know, absolutely broke and adopted the culture. You know, kids are coming in from morning period is surf PE, where they can go and surf in the morning, and that counts as a class before they actually go into like a biology class or something, if they even make it. It felt like Dazed and Confused, but in California. Just, how is this grooming me for real life? And it was known as like a college preparatory school.
Wow.
And I graduated and I did, you know, I had a good GPA, but it's like the stuff that I pulled at that time in my life, I wouldn't have gotten away with if I had stayed in Houston. No way. It was way more conservative. And you just, it's like the SoCal way and the Wild West, honestly, where just kids are running around lawless. Yeah. And I became one of those kids. And then it's like you take these experiences and habits into college and you think you can pull the same shit there. And then from college, then you go into the real world and you're like, okay, this stuff's not working anymore. we got to come up with another plan because this road can't go on forever. So yeah, I got a taste of Southern California at a young age and I love it. I'm going back next week.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. And I have, my oldest and dearest friends from high school that are still, they're like my family.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
So when you finished high school, did you stayed in California? You were okay with the lawlessness, and you kind of adopted it for your own.
I did. I was so resistant at first. I hated it because I just wanted to be a rebellious teen. And, I was...
Your parents did this to you.
Yes, this was done to me. My father is from Florida. My dad's from Florida, so I think he always wanted to be back by the ocean again. And Houston at that time, like, I made a documentary about it. There was a lot of crime going on in Houston where I wasn't even safe to, like... My dad wouldn't let us just in the driveway, like ride our bikes around the driveway without, being chaperoned, or even go a couple of blocks, to walk to the school bus by ourselves. Like, it was just all of a sudden that some runner in Memorial Park was kidnapped, and then it was like it just bad, chain of events started happening in Houston where he said, we're going to get out of here. And he didn't want to go back to Florida, so San Diego. It was actually supposed to be Santa Barbara, but then they realized that's more of like a retirement area, not a place to raise 3 kids. And San Diego became it. But after I graduated from high school there, I ended up going back to Texas. I ended up in Dallas.
Ooh,
and the party only took flight. I was just tan off. So I said, doesn't matter where I land, if it's Timbuktu, Kentucky, or if it's a big city like Dallas, like, I'm going to, like, all bets are off. I am going to rebel and party. And, like, if I have to go to college, like, I'm just going to, do whatever I want for 4 years and then see what happens. Like, 4 years seems like a chunk of time, but it does go by fast, especially if you're partying 24/7. So somehow I got a degree.
Oh, my God.
I don't know how. Somehow I managed one, and can I say that little piece of paper really hasn't gotten me that far in life. I'm grateful to have it.
I'm not sure you learned the things that you were supposed to learn if you were spending the entire time partying.
Well, I did find that I loved, like, my music classes. I was a broadcast major, so I thought I was going to be a reporter. I thought I was going to be the next Veronica Corningstone. Seeing that was in San Diego, and I was following suit with a friend who I went to high school with that also went to my college, and she went and got, like, an anchor job in Casper, Wyoming. And I said, I don't want to move there. Yeah. That sounds cold and miserable and, not a friendly ghost. And she was like, yeah, but the rent's like $400, and even though you're only making $20,000 a year. So I don't know. I then got into sales. I was like, I don't think I want to be a man band shooting my stand-up live reporting, jumping in the van, editing it, and trying to get it on the 6 o'clock news all by myself, because you don't get like a team with a cameraman when you first start out. But yeah, I knew I would do something in the realm of acting or public speaking eventually. It was just like fighting a lot of fear and societal norms to cross that bridge and finally see what's on the other side. Yeah. I'm so glad I did it. Oh my God. No looking back.
So what was when did I'm going to make an assumption just based on everything you've shared so far that your first time to get back on a stage was as either as an actor or in a theater production or a musical production.
Correct. Yes. I was living in Los Angeles. After college, I stayed in Dallas for several years. And then my best friend that I met in college, who was from LA, she just up and said one day, I'm going to go back. And I said, no, you can't. And then I think it's just run its course in Dallas. I kind of felt like while it's such a big city, that everywhere I went, I was just seeing people that I went to college with. And I always knew deep in like the pits of my soul that I wanted to be in acting and get back out there in some way. And I'm sure there was probably some of it in Dallas, but it didn't seem, I said, I've got to go back to LA. I've got to go where it's at, you know? So I moved to Los Angeles. I was in a corporate job at the time because when they spit you out of college, it was a bad time. The job market was low. We were going through the last crisis of swine flu and the housing market crash. Yeah. So there was not a lot happening. Here you have this degree, but it's getting you nowhere because you have no experience. It's like, but I need someone to take a chance on me so I can get the experience just once. And I don't know how internships are done these days, but I did a lot at news stations back in San Diego, and I didn't get paid a dime. I had to get up at the butt crack of dawn and be there for the morning news, and then I did the evening news too. And it was just like, is this what I'm going to do? Is this going to be my life? And no, deep down inside, I always knew like, no, I want to act. I want this. And I don't think I'm ever going to be happy unless I actually finally go for that. So I started running around, like making up excuses in LA. Like, I have a doctor's appointment. They're like, how many times are you going to go to the gynecologist this month? And they were just really going on auditions. So I would drive from like where my office was in Howard Hughes Promenade, which is close to Culver City, like all the way up to Hollywood, which can take a day and a half, and try to get back. And I was like, yeah, my doctor's all in Hollywood's the only one my insurance would take or something. And I would just start running. It was mayhem. You know, and I was partying a lot because I was not happy. So those habits that started in, I guess, late high school, if not early high school, because I was so upset, you know, at my parents to have moved me there. And so I just started smoking pot and doing whatever, running around with the fast kids and getting in trouble. And then, the same thing continued in college. And then that also just became exponential out of college when I joined the workforce. And it's like, this can't go on forever. And so, I ended up finally one day taking the plunge with stand-up. Yeah, I finally just bit the bullet. I had people tell me, why don't you try it multiple times? You might be good at it. Yeah. And I said, no, I want to do movies. I want to do this. And even in acting school I went to in LA, it was like typecasting day on, you're amazing for Disney. You're going to be great for the CW, like Gossip Girl stuff. And then they got to me and they're like, you should do stand-up. I'm like, what? That's not what I wanted to hear. No, like, I want to be the next Cate Blanchett. This is not okay. And then it's like the seed gets planted and then you hear somebody else say it to you, okay, fine, I'll try it. I'll do it. And so it was when I moved back to San Diego that I actually finally did it. And I've never looked back. It's been so great.
How did you approach that first time, given that you've been mission focused on acting? So it's, you know, for an actor, the material is written for you versus stand up. That's all on you. So how did you approach that first time?
Well, I think that being in a live setting in the moment with my friends, I mean, I always thought, because I was a party girl, the last one standing, always, life of the party. I was the fun one, and then finally quitting all of that and wondering, can I still keep this up? And I just think that stand up really worked that muscle. It's just trusting yourself. Like, I've always loved to write. You know, that's my background, and I love to perform. So it's just like synergizing them. And I love to riff. I love to just be in the moment and just running with it. And I don't know. I think I was just kind of engineered for it, honestly. It was a night, to be really honest. I was really, really miserable. I was a real estate agent at the time in San Diego, hating what I was doing. Talk about like working for free. So that perfectly groomed me for stand-up comedy, because I was already, I said, if I'm going to work for free, I'm better do something that I freaking love. And so it was this club at the time called the Comedy Palace in San Diego. It's now called Mic Drop. And that's my home club. And I get to, visit them soon. So I'm very excited. It's been completely remodeled like a Cap City, and it's just beautiful. They have the original chairs, but it's just decked. It's so cool. It's Alice in Wonderland themed.
Oh,
so
my
this
gosh.
has like been a theme in my life for a while. And it's beautifully done. And they just opened another one in Chandler, Arizona. And I believe the people behind it are from the Tempe Improv. Okay. So they've been in the biz a while. They're class acts. They're just amazing. Like, one of the best clubs I've ever been to. And my history is there. So I was really high one night, alone, party of one, after the party was over. And I think it's the best wasted decision I've ever made. We don't usually make great ones. And I bought this comedy workshop at the Comedy Palace. It was like, I just Googled comedy classes in San Diego, and up popped this 6-week course. It was like $200. I'm like, I can do that. And you went every Saturday for 6 weeks, and on the final one, it was a showcase at the club. And so it was like 2 hours per Saturday. And then, you just went up there and you wrote about your why and who am I and what am I. And then I was coached by some long-term comics in the business who are still my friends today. And I went up and like you got priority at the club if you were in the workshop to get up at mics.
Okay.
So like there was the mic list for veteran comics, and then there was a section for student comics. So student comics did get priority to get thrown in towards the top of the list during the time you were in the workshop. But once you were out of the workshop, it's like, okay, you're going to wait. You're going to wait. And so then I ended up running a mic there on Tuesday night. So just usually be like me and 30 dudes and them hovering over my shoulder like, when am I up? When am I up? When am I up? I'm like, we've got to like figure out another way to do this. Enter slotted. But yeah, I just became addicted to it and the challenge of it. And the first show, like real show that I had and getting those laughs of like things that I wrote, I'm like, oh my God, like I just want to, whatever I need to do to figure out how to do this all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it just became a good addiction, I think, because I've had some bad ones. Had some really bad ones, Valerie.
Yeah.
Coffee is a good one because I used to do the other Colombian a lot. Marching powder.
Wow.
So now the rum cup of coffee can send me off into another orbit, but it's just coffee now and jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've put the naughty stuff away. Been a while now, so life has changed.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, you've had Dylan on recently. I love him. He's a sober guy. Colton, like there's a community here that you find out more and more. Like I have comedians all over the country that I can call and hit up when I'm in different cities who are sober. Yeah. So it's like it's so fun to know there's other artists out there like that, and we connect. And like I always thought I needed this in my life to keep going. And I didn't realize how much it was destroying it. Yeah. So that's why I said mayhem. That was the first word that came to mind. So thank you for that question. I love that. Yeah. You said it was straightforward, but no, you didn't throw me some curveballs. Let's go. Next up.
Okay, so how long did you spend as a stand-up in California?
So I started in 2018, my birthday. I bought that workshop for my birthday. And what is that? What are we, 2023 now? So it's been all over 5 years. I was still very active during the pandemic, going to secret mics and shows underneath the freeway at the Dave & Buster's in the parking lot. We would then get broken up there, and then we'd have to move to LA Fitness. Then we went to the beach. There were comics that were, like a crew of us that were continuing to try to keep the scene alive. And then ultimately, like, my lease was up. I had just moved to downtown San Diego because I was living in North County, and I was running a show. I didn't call it Yuck It Up, but I was running a show at a VFW, an American Legion in North County, which I'll be at next Wednesday. That show is going strong still by my wonderful friend and a mentor to me. His name's Andrew Norelli. He's been in the business forever, and he's done anything from like Letterman to he performs for like Microsoft and Google. Does a lot of corporate stuff. Yeah, he's done it all. And when he found out I was moving to Texas, he said, "Oh, what are you going to do with your a Legion show with a Post 416?" And I said, well, the median age in there is like 65 for the vets. So one show, we could kill them all. I don't think North County, San Diego is going to be too appreciative. I don't know when it's coming back, but I'm not waiting around to find out. I'm going to go back to Texas where things are open and we can perform inside without masks and not have to social distance and not be at shows at breweries outside 6 feet apart with masks on. I don't even know if anyone's laughing or if any of this is landing. Talk about resilience. Or doing Zoom comedy. Oh, heaven forbid. Sit down comedy. So that was happening. I was running that show in San Diego and performing at the Palace regularly. So I think, that just like, I was just so hooked. That I'd never want. I just like wherever I need to go, I'm going to keep doing it. And I ended up back here.
And why Austin versus Houston?
Well, I guess, the buzz had really been penetrating around, just circulating about Austin. clearly, you know, I don't want to say I'm a disciple of Joe Rogan, like he's a messiah of comedy, but this was being talked about for a while. And it was a couple of friends of mine who are in the Austin scene. Andrew Tarr, he came from San Diego. Brian McDuffie, another one, he came and moved back here. I know I'm probably forgetting a couple of others, but I just kind of, Dylan Sullivan. And he had come here, Jeffrey Berner. So I was just kind of watching some of my peers from California come to Austin and sort of following along with them and, you know, how's it going out there? And I was actually living in Mexico at the time because it was safer than downtown San Diego because, I moved to downtown and left North County to be near Austin American Comedy Club. They were opening a Laugh Factory. The Comedy Store was closer in La Jolla, and then lockdown happened as soon as I moved downtown, where I could have just popped out my door and walked to all of these clubs and hit them all in one night. And then I'm like, I just signed a 9-month lease. I'm glad I didn't sign a year. And then when it was up, it was fall of 2020. And they're like, do you want to renew? And I said, are we still in lockdown? And I said, no, I'm getting out of here. And so I just drove to Mexico. And I lived down there and we did stand-up in Mexico.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was fun, a little odyssey. And then I came back to San Diego again to see, hey, are we open? Nope. And then, finally, I think I just talked to Dylan or somebody else, another person that had just moved to Austin. And I said, you know what? Let's go back to my roots. I never thought I'd move back to Texas, but I got in the car and packed up what I could in my car and threw the rest in storage. I said, let's just go for the summer. So that was early 2021.
Okay.
And we can always come back. Maybe California will open up again. Who knows? Or maybe we'll like it. Yeah. And I'm still here. Like, what is this? Almost
3
2,
plus?
yeah.
Almost, wait.
2.5 years later, I think.
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
So something stuck.
Yeah.
It's nice to be, there's family, you know, in Dallas, Houston. So when I do go to those cities, it's like a twofer. I could meet up with a cousin or see my brother, you know, something. But I'm really there to do stand-up. Make no mistake about it. Like, seeing family is secondary. Sure, you can come to their show. But no, Houston is a different kind of scene. I mean, you have it on Wham. You follow it too, which is so cool. I love what you do. Like, to have this kind of a partner and pillar in the community to help us promote it's so hard to promote shows. Yeah. And things are very, very saturated right now. It's evolved in a way that it's been crazy and so quickly this year alone. Yeah. Since when I got here in 2021, and it was just the Creek and the Cave. Mm-hmm. It was the Creek. Cap City was still under reno. The Velve was around, but like for the most part, it was just, you know, alt shows. Right. A lot of it. Not a huge club scene. And then all of a sudden it just spurts into like 10 clubs overnight. Which
all
is
in this small square
in this
footage.
tiny little, 4-block stretch, which like when New Yorkers come here, like I was talking to this comic who's in town right now, Jackie Cashian. She's at the Creek this weekend with Lori Kilmartin. She's like, I think there's just too many choices, you know? She said, wait, you're at another club like down the street tonight? And I said, yeah, it's called Roscoe's. It's like on the other side of the freeway next to the Planned Parenthood that I put out of business. But yeah, it's just like boom, boom, boom. And she said, you know, she's out in LA and the New Yorkers are like, you know, New York is New York, but the frequency of clubs in a small area.
It is.
They're blown away by it when they come here. And so Houston, being one of the biggest cities in the country, I've yet to perform at the Improv in my hometown any day now. And there's the Riot, which is so wonderful, and then Secret Group. So really there's 3 clubs in the 3rd biggest city in the country in different sprawled out areas of Houston. So there's not really indirect competition with each other. Yeah. Every time I've gone down for any shows, there's always folks there. So it's just do the math, you know, supply and demand, like the amount of people there are in Houston is times 3 that there are in Austin. And then there's less clubs. So of course your rooms are going to be full. Yeah. There's not a lot of, you have to think through the consumer's eyes, right? Like when you go out and see comedy, how often do you go see a show?
Oh, if I can pull off once a week, I'm lucky.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well,
doing anything like once a week is a lot, I think.
Sure, I want to do more.
Consistent.
Yeah.
But as a consumer who's going out once a week for comedy, where do you think they're going to go nowadays? They want to see if Post Malone is going to show up at the mothership, and they can say on their Instagram, I sold Jelly Roll last night at the mothership. Not even the comedian they saw, like the country music star, you know, or I saw the rapper and I was like, well, Dave Chappelle was there too, did you know? Like that kind of thing. Or it's like, I saw Taylor Swift's boyfriend of the week at mothership, and that's why I went there. No, the comedy is amazing, but it's just it's high volume. Yeah. And navigating that as a independent showrunner, when both of your shows are downtown. Yeah. And one of them's free. It's free First Fridays. Yeah. It's even hard to get people in the door with that, because that one's over by the Capitol on the more quiet end of downtown. So when you're out barking in that area, it's like it's a dead zone. Yeah. So yeah, it's always just like coming up with new and creative ways, but like the fact that you have this platform that helps us, like Do 512, you know, it's just like trying any and all resource accessible to see if it makes a change, a little spike, you know, and something. Because that's our livelihood is selling tickets. Yeah. And show running is definitely a different animal than just performing. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad I love doing it, though. I love it. I love all facets of comedy. And you meet so many people. Yeah. Doing it.
So when you moved here, you had left your community of fellow comics. You had been producing shows. How long did it take you before the itch to, all right, I've got the lay of the land of the scene, such as it was at that time, to book a show?
Like to get booked on a show or to run my own show?
To run your own show.
I knew I always wanted to. I knew that would happen eventually, because it's honestly an exchange of currency. You're offering a contribution. Okay, there's a lot of comedians moving here. We need more stages. Mm-hmm. And just about any venue, depending on, you know, a couple of factors, can be a stage. Mm-hmm. You can make a comedy show there. From a candy shop to a hair salon to a F45 gym, whatever. Yeah. As long as the owner's willing and there's some sort of way that you can mutually help each other. Mm-hmm. Like I'm hoping I'm going to be partnering with this one gym soon that has opened a couple new locations. Well, they need people to come in and buy memberships, but let's offer some entertainment value at the same time and get some people in the door this way, as opposed to just trying to run ads on social media and cold call or whatever you're doing to market. So how about do this new cool and fun way to get people to learn about your business? So I think it's just trying to find creative partnerships, great people to work with, which is not always easy. And it really just kind of evolved organically, as I mentioned earlier, with Sammy at Wanderlust, because I was already performing there in a different way with the Alice, and he'd seen what I could do. Yeah. And we made like a little family there. And so, I just was like, let's just go. Let's just go and try it. And I wanted a new name for it, because I wasn't really calling my shows in San Diego anything. It was just like comedy night at the Legion, you know. And I was like, we need to have some sort of a production company. We need to LLC this, cement this as a business. So I just like saying yuck it up. I just think it's fun to say. Yeah. Yuck it up. And jokes being yucks, you know. Right. It's like, what's a slang thing in the business? What's something that hasn't been taken on Instagram, or you know, that's always hard. Your handle on Instagram, you like put it in and it's like, damn it, like I don't want to add 5 numbers after it. I want it to just be this. Like, I'm not a celebrity. Like, how do I go and get Instagram to be like, yes, you can have that? Like what Elon did to that guy on Twitter with X. He just stole his handle that he'd had, this guy who's like in the culinary world, and he's a genius, I believe, and he's had X as his handle for 13 years, and Elon's like, no, I'm Elon, I'm coming in and I'm taking that, because I'm calling the company X now, and your platform that you've built for a baker's dozen of years is gone. Like, sorry, buddy, I'm swiping in, and you can't do anything about it. So just even finding a name that hasn't been done is tricky, but it's a challenge that works the brain, grind the gears, and you just keep going, because there's a lot of painful moments when you don't have people show up at your shows, and you're like, why am I doing this? I could be at home watching Netflix right now, in the bathtub, you know, eating snacks. What, you know, like, snacks from Walmart, not Whole Foods, but like, yeah, it's like you somehow find a way because I guess you just really have to love it.
You have to, yeah.
You just have to love it. And you really love it. And
we
love you that you love it.
Well, and you know that for every one show that, you know, the audience just isn't there for you, there's going to be another audience that it's like gives you the greatest of highs.
They're delicious.
Yeah. And you're like, I mean, unfortunately, it does harken back to addiction language where you're always chasing that high.
Definitely. Yeah. It's in relation to the highs I used to chase, I can reconcile it that this is a healthier thing. And just for a little like queso factor, I do say that stand-up in a way like saved me. It did. I finally found something that was a purpose that I loved, that I was so afraid to do and take the chance with because I knew it was going to upset a lot of people who wanted to put me in this box, like this is what your life should be. Yeah. And that's no, fault to the boomers. That's just how they were raised, and generations evolve, and they don't understand what the next generation or future generations are doing, like taking risks and doing things that aren't safe. Yeah. Because it's not. I've lived a life without Groupon has been my health insurance.
Oh, God.
Okay? I just got my dental work on Groupon. I didn't even get it down in Mexico while I was there, but I hear it's great. There's a lot of people I know in San Diego that were going down to Mexico during the pandemic to get plastic surgery because none of the offices were open. And there was long times like, oh, well, yeah, I can recover at home because we're in lockdown. No one's going to see me. Wow. And I'll come out whenever we get out of this a whole new person. Literally.
Oh my goodness.
So I have health insurance again. There are ways you learn like, okay, yeah, wow, we're sacrificing our health to do this. Then you're like, I do really love this. Because I had the comforts of a salaried job with benefits and a PPO and all this stuff, but I was freaking miserable. Like putting stuff up my nose, drinking at alarming rates, and just like, self-sabotaging, just going down the road of destruction. And then finally, like, I was partying my first year of stand-up, so I did get to experience, doing it, evolving as a newbie in the business and a rookie and not knowing really what I was doing, trying to connect with the right people. But when you're partying like I was, it was like, I'm not realizing it at the time until I get out of this and step away that I was probably attracting the wrong things. Even though I had some great opportunities early on, that I was kind of like, wow, all this is happening in just my first year. I think this is like I made the right choice. And then I finally quit that stuff and then I was like, okay, I think that this probably wouldn't have happened if I kept doing what I was doing before. I would never know, but I feel like I can confidently say that if I was still like staying up to the, early hours of the morning. There's a comic that I love here in Austin. His name's Sam Prickett. He calls it bright nights. It's so funny because it relates so hard to me. Those aren't mornings. When you see people jogging at 5 a.m., they're just called bright nights. Oh, my God. It kills me every time. He's so funny. He's one of my faves in town. And, I still struggle with sleep. That's for sure. But it's like, okay, we'll just go create something then.
Can I pick on something that you said in describing like how you went from that newbie year that you had to, and maybe I misinterpreted what you were saying, that you had to, do the hard partying, staying up late. Is that specifically what you were talking about, that you had to do that part, or just the being immersed in the culture and just following where everybody was going?
I was already a professional partier at this point with a lot of years behind me. Yeah. So naturally, I just ended up connecting with the comedians who also had that lifestyle. I'll never forget, like, the first night I did Kill Tony at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. It was very, very early in my career. I didn't even really understand what the show was.
And it's very different in California than it is now.
It has changed a lot. Yeah, Jeremiah William Montgomery was around. Yep. I remember meeting William. Ali Makovsky was one of the regulars at the time. But I was out showing properties all day in the La Jolla area. And I was driving by the Comedy Store after I was done. I was like, God, I'm so miserable. I hate that. These people from Minnesota came here. They have a shit budget. They think they can live by the ocean, but they don't like the train tracks. I'm like, well, the ocean and the train tracks aren't fucking moving, dude. And with that shitty budget, you should just go back to the Midwest, okay? You've got a bad attitude. And so I'd shown like 7 properties that day, and then I drove past the Comedy Store. I saw a line out the door, but it wasn't people that were coming to see the show. It was comics. And then I saw it said Kill Tony on the marquee there. And I said, oh yeah, I always keep hearing about this show. And so I pulled over and I parked and I was like, I'll throw my name in this bucket. I don't know what it means. And I ended up getting picked. And I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. No one really told me.
You don't have a lot of time to figure that out.
No. So I definitely was not polished in my minute. Don't anybody go looking for that episode, okay?
Oh, we're all going to go.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a thing and it happened again when I did it here where very few females were putting their name in the bucket. So it was like, dude. And Tony will finally say, should we get a chick up here?
Yeah.
You know, should we get a lady up here at some point? So he'll pick until he gets a chick. And he'll keep going, and then it's like, okay, I think I'm probably one of 3 that put their names. I have good chances. Yeah. And that first time that I did it, there was another guy named Tim. He wasn't even a comic. He was just an asshole is what he was. The bucket wasn't monitored by anyone like it is, something at the Smithsonian like it is today, guarded. It was just a pitcher, like a beer pitcher in the back of the Comedy Store on a table. And there was little pieces of paper put out for you to just throw your name in. Yeah. Well, this guy, Tim, threw his name in like 10 times and no one saw it. Well, naturally, he got picked. And I think he went on it right before me. And he ended up getting found out that he'd done that. And he got booed out of the place. And then I was like, oh my God, am I going to get booed when I'm out there? Is that what's going to happen? But he pretended that he could play drums. Oh. Yeah, so he took over for whoever was the drummer at the time, which I've seen some people Kill Tony here in Austin do like, I can, and they actually do pull it off. But this guy just went off and he was drunk and he did something like a buffoon, and then they found out that he'd put his name in multiple times because Tony picked his name again. And he was like, get that guy out of here. And then he just got, I said, what is this public flogging? What have I gotten myself into? And it's so popular. It's like people are hooked. Yeah. It's remarkable what he's built, and seeing that it's here, and so many reasons why comedians keep flooding into town is they want that Kill Tony glow up. So and it's been seen, you know, it's happened, and it's really awesome. Like if that's the route that you go and that works for you, what it can do is even if you're like a brand new comic. You know, who has a year of experience or less. So there's just no real path. Everyone's is different. Yeah. And it's like just constantly training my mind to stay in my own lane and like, this is yours. That one's theirs, you know. Yeah. Don't compare. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's just like, and that's hard when it's in your face. I have to train myself with social media. That's why I was somebody to take it off my plate. Because it's not healthy place for me. I used to work at a social media company here in Austin. I didn't tell them I didn't like social media in my interview.
Probably not a good move.
No. But that's where the Juicy was born. You brought that up earlier. And it's maybe going to come back. I don't know. That company is not around anymore, unfortunately. But while I was there, I had access to a beautiful podcasting studio and a producer and an editor that did it all. Yes. And they helped me come up with a name. It's a little on the nose. No pun intended. I also had another one called Wake and Cake during the pandemic instead of Bake, because it was around the time that I originally got sober. And there's lots of those episodes still floating around on Spotify with lots of different comedians. Yeah. Sometimes it's fun to go listen to them and be like, this is so funny what you're doing in 2020. Just trying to do something. Right. You know? Yeah. But we survived. We got through. Now I'm sitting here with you. Yeah. And I love Austin, and the community it's every day. You just meet new people every time you're out for a show or whatever. It's like, well, I just got here fresh off the boat like 2 days ago from Alabama. I'm like, holy crap. What do you do for work during the day to afford it? Because my rent has doubled, you know?
Oof, wow.
Yeah. No, not too much. I have a good good deal, but it's pretty much what I was paying in San Diego when I left. Crazy. And I don't see any ocean around, Valerie.
No.
So it's, this is like the new California in a way.
It is.
I thought that heat would smoke them out this summer and they'd go back.
Yeah.
You know?
No
such chance. No such luck.
Not at all.
So it's just exciting times, and I love change, and I love, I try not to future trip, like what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Just stay in the day, because then if I don't, I get anxious, and then if I think about the past, I can get depressed. So it's like, just think about today.
Yeah.
What is happening today? We are going to Valerie's house. We're going to talk about comedy, and that's fun.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it. And then whatever happens after, you'll just figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's play this card game, Lauren.
Okay.
All right. So from the author Esther Perel, she created a game called Where Should We Begin? Esther Perel is like this world-renowned psychologist, or that's probably wrong, but does it say? No.
What kind of psychology?
She has a podcast where she'll sit down with couples and help them work through whatever issue they happen to have. So she's very gifted at asking open-ended questions, which is what this game is about, is asking, you play this game and you ask each other open-ended questions, and that's supposed to like drive relationship, conversation, whatever. And so the way that I play this game is you're going to point to the card that you want read to you.
Okay.
So you've got 2 cards, pick one.
Okay. I'll do this one.
We'll do that one. So I'm going to read that to you after you read that one to me.
Sweet.
So I get a little practice as well.
Okay. So you haven't looked at these?
No. You saw me draw it out of the deck.
All right.
So let's
meet
go.
you. Okay, meet you first.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, I like the paper. Is it like recycled? The best gift I have ever received.
Ooh, the best gift I've ever received. Well, It's so cliche, but I swear, and he doesn't listen to my podcast, but my child is the best gift.
Aww.
Because now as I see him, and I'm going to start crying, as I have seen him grow into this little mini adult, he's 17 now, and he's, juggling so many responsibilities, and he's applying to colleges, and I'm hoping he gets into the best possible college that he deserves. And it's like, I helped make that. And that is the best gift, to know that sacrifices, money to attend schools, activities, all of that is nice, because you can throw money at children and end up with a really hideous beast of a child. But there's something about the way I parented that made him turn into like a pretty cool little human adult.
Oh, that's glorious. That's truly special.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What's his name? Travis. Lake Travis.
Yeah.
Well, we know he's an Austinite.
Well, he was born in Chicago, where that name was not common at all.
And then you come here.
And then we moved here, and it's like, oh, well.
Wait,
you have a lake, a county, a school.
Is the jail called Travis County Jail? Probably. Yeah. Let's hope he's never ending up there. Not with you as a mom.
Well, and he knows that if he does, I'm not bailing him out.
Yeah. You make him learn. I have been there before.
Ooh.
In Dallas.
Ooh.
Lou Sterrett. Yeah. Memories.
Yikes.
That was, everybody was getting one of those in college with a degree, you hope, but also with the DUI was the minor. DWI in my case. But that's so awesome. I love that you said that. I don't know if I'll ever be a mom one day, but that was inspiring. Maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, but, happened to meet the right person at the right time, got married, the whole thing, got divorced, and then...
That's so great. Well, I look forward to finding out what school, because I know he's going to have a lot of options, which one he decides to pick.
Yeah.
Not them picking, like he chooses, because
you're
interviewing them too. You got to pick the right one for you.
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Oh, I love that response. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Oh
no.
This is one that I would have had fun with. All right. Lauren, your question is, when a friend is consistently late, ...
When a friend is consistently late, they're pregnant.
Yes.
They must be knocked up.
That's true.
I will, at this point in my life, say something about it. Definitely. Previous party Lauren, who didn't care, who probably thought, I've probably done some shitty things to this person. I have no room to say, but I truly hold in high regard punctuality.
Yeah.
Trying to get there. This was something I learned in early days of corporate America. Someone had said to me, because I was late all the time, because I was just hungover, and I had to drive far from like uptown Dallas all the way to Plano for my first job out of college. And I was always running late. And then it's just, the anxiety that comes from it, that you just feel it. Like, this is bad. This is wrong. I got to change this. And someone said, when you're early, you're on time. When you're on time, you're already late. And when you're late, you're fired. And I was like, I think I'm the third one.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. So it's just like a nerve calming thing when you can get somewhere early. And if like you're meeting at a coffee shop where you can make sure you have enough time for parking, because that's an issue. Yeah. Like just building in extra time, especially like when I lived in a city like Los Angeles or Dallas or whatever. It's just it's just respect. It's courtesy.
Yeah.
I beat myself up if I'm ever late. I hate it. I get so down on myself. I'm like, oh my God, that's just so disrespectful to the other person and their time. So yeah, if I have I've like stopped hanging out with people before because of it.
Wow.
From being flaky when things have been plans in motion for a while, because everyone's time is valuable and precious. Yep. No one's is more important than the other. And yeah, I'm not going to call that person much anymore. I'm not going to create plans with them, because this is like, shame on you. This has happened so many times. I think is like something you can count on. So definitely, yes, at this stage in my life, I will say something like, it really bothers me that you're never on time. And I know you think it's funny and it's laughable, like, oh, that's typical me. It's like, no, you need to get your shit together. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to tell you and do that trick that I'd probably say, okay, the movie's at, because I just go to movies by myself, or the show starts at 7 when it's really at 8, and then they end up getting on time. We comics love that. I know every comic's experienced this when they invite friends, especially non-comics, to their shows, and they say, well, the show starts at 8. Well, what time do you go on? I'm like, the show starts at 8. I would come at 7:45 to get a drink and get seated, use the facilities, know the lay of the land. And then like a movie where you wouldn't show up in the middle of a film, I'll be going up somewhere between 8 and 9:30. So nice. 90 minutes of your time, maybe 2 hours is when I'll be going up, somewhere in that realm. Got it?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. It's not that hard. Show up when the show starts. Just like when a movie does. Catch the whole thing.
That's
Imagine
so
that. Yeah. So thank you for that question. That was good. This is fun. There's another game like this that we used. I forgot. Created by two women. I'll send you the name later. But we used it at the social media company I was working with. I was using it with Voices of Ibble was what it was called, and I would get people from all over in different professions, and I would pull a couple cards from that game and do this too. So I love that you did that. Fun. So great. Fun.
Yeah, thanks to the behind the scenes, the web guru, Richard, for giving me that as a gift a few years back. And,
I love how you integrated it into this.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Well, we're going to start winding down, and I have one question that I've been asking, and what I want you to tell me is whatever your writing system is, the name of your favorite joke. I don't want to know the joke. I want to just know, in your filing system, what do you call your current favorite joke?
Water birth.
Okay. What is it about water birth that you love so much right now?
Well, it's been a joke for probably 2 years, and I've continued to build on it, like new tags. When I say the punchline, it just feels powerful. I love it. I'm a Pisces. I wrote this joke at the pool. It came up then. motherhood is always something on my mind, so I'm glad you talked about it because it's inspiring to me. I don't know if it's in the cards for me. I can't sweat it too much because I'm not really putting too much energy and attention on that. But then that's when they say, like, when you're chasing it too hard, it runs from you, when you're not looking, maybe you'll come. Yeah. And I've got a lot of things that I want to do in my career before that happens. But if it happens, so be it. Bless it be. So Waterbirth sort of evolved from a painful place about wondering, because all my friends have, like, is that ever going to happen for me? Can I even do it? Are the pipes still working? So it is, in my dark arts, like a joke that I wrote that helps me process pain, but that I hope, comedy is tragedy, that people can have a sick enough sense of humor to understand that, that this is a way that I'm writing this because it's me processing my feelings of something painful that I hope is funny. Yeah. So it's like a Swiss Army knife for you. Like it hits a lot of buttons for you, and you've been working on it a long time. Yes. So, I love to see that a joke evolve and then like, oh my God, that's a great new tagline. Let's try that. Because sometimes you get so sick of telling your jokes. You're like, it's like listening to Glenn Fry from the Eagles. He was interviewed once. He was like, if I ever have to play Hotel California again, I'm going to freaking roll over in my grave and die. But it's like, but the crowd loves it. Play the hits. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like kind of be the same for jokes, because some people like, do that one joke about Taco Bell. There's a comic, Eric Myers, who's no longer with us, and he had this people have like famous bits, like the ones I love about Louis, or any comic that I revere and admire. It's like, I could hear that over and over and over again, and I still laugh. Yeah. So that's my goal, is I just want to have jokes that are just so good, that are timeless. And that's things that, the special taping on Monday has asked. There's not too many things we're not supposed to do. Yeah. There was one, like, don't do anything about minors because they're not allowed on the platform. Oh, interesting. I was like, I can work with that. Darn it, but that one joke that I just wrote about Ethan Hawke directing his daughter in sex scenes, but she's of age, so maybe it's like, come on, Hollywood. There wasn't, like, Martin Scorsese couldn't do it, Coppola couldn't do it. You had to have dad direct daughter. Yeah. What is Uma Thurman thinking about this? Is she on set like, honey, take it easy. Maybe you should leave the room for this scene. No, he's like, daddy's got it. Ugh. So, that's probably it. That's the one that came top of mind. Okay. All right. Good question. Thanks. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want people to know about you? I don't think so. I feel like we covered a lot of ground. We did cover a lot of ground. I could talk to you forever. Yeah. Thank you for all these chocolates here. You're welcome. You're like, would you like a mug of chocolate? I'm like, hot chocolate? No, just actual, like, Hershey's. And these are the good ones, the nuggets. Yeah, God dang it. Yeah, Valerie, these are not good to eat before a taping on Monday, but I probably take them with me anyway to just eat them. Not the whole mug. Just a couple. Just a couple. I should put on there property of Comedy Wham, because, and I'm never going to let her hear the end of it. Leah Sampson, when she came on, she literally picked up the mug and started walking out of the house. She did? She's like, it's bring a gift for the teacher day. Leave the apple, take the mug. Yeah, I mean, you can never have enough. She's like, best comedian ever. This is for Leah Sampson. Clearly for she's on the taping Monday too, and I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with her, so I'm very excited for the lineup. It's like a mix of comics I know well and other ones that I don't know as well. So it's such a good mix. It should be a fun. And I didn't know what the lineup was when they booked me, and then they sent me the promo, and I'm like, oh God, this is going to be great. Can you come? I don't know if I can. Bring your son. Oh my God. Yeah. That'd be hilarious. Is 17 a minor in the state of Texas? I don't know. Is it an adult now? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll ask Crystalia. Oh, Jesus Christ. And on that note, folks, come check me out on OnlyFans. Tell my mom. It'll be a perfect Hanukkah present for her. Hanukkah came early this year. 8 crazy nights on OnlyFans. Yeah, come to the taping on Monday. Oh, this is going to be coming out after. Oh, okay. Well, the promo code's free laughs. Yeah, there you go. Not free ass. Free laughs. Okay? And find me. We love the follows at the Lauren Jamison, and LaurenJamisonComedy.com is my website. All right. Well, you're smart. You're going to get another shot to promote your stuff in just a second, but I'm going to ask you my closing question. Oh. One word to describe your future. Expansion. Ooh, but another word I love recently, opulence, because that's just fun to say.
It is fun.
So I'd say a blend of those, but I did say expansion first. I just want to keep...
Expansulence?
Expansulence.
Expansionopulence?
Sounds like spatula or something in there.
Just one word.
Yeah. Opulation? No, expansulence. Yes. Marrying of the minds. I love it. Good stuff.
All right. Well, that is a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents. Lauren Jamison. Lauren, tell us where we can find you on social media. And
once again, you don't really hear it until the third time.
I know.
So if it doesn't land, hopefully it will this time. So at the Lauren Jamison, because just Lauren Jamison was taking. I don't love myself that much, but I am the one and only. And then LaurenJamisonComedy.com. We'll see if the podcast comes back, but there are tons of good episodes that are juicy called Wake and Cake on Spotify. I would highly recommend listening to some. I've got Ian Bagg on there, Andrew Norelli, Dylan Sullivan, old school chronicles from 2020 on there.
It's funny to call 2020 old school.
Yeah.
Did when you hear when this podcast started?
Yeah. But when it was just how do we talk to people and connect? Hey, let's get on Zoom and shoot the shit for 45 minutes and see what happens and see if we feel like we've been around another human being and touch each other through a computer screen and cry. But thank you so much, Valerie. We love you in this community. You're a pillar. We couldn't do it without you. We just love that you love comedy so much. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Okay. We hope you've enjoyed learning how I'm a creature of habit. I read the same things every single time. So we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Lauren got to be the comedic genius that you heard today just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Lauren Jamison. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Lauren.
Yahtzee.